Chodesh, welcome back. Chazal tell us in the Gemara, Shenichnas Av memaitim b'simcha, kach Shenichnas Adar Marbim b'simcha. Just like in the month of Av, we're supposed to lessen our joy, so too in the month of Adar, Marbim b'simcha, we're supposed to increase our joy. And the question is really twofold. Number one, how? How do we increase our joy? But number two is, when it comes to decreasing our joy for the month of Av, and halacha tells us exactly how we're supposed to do it. We're not supposed to listen to music. Once we get to the week of Tisha B'Av, we're not supposed to eat meat. We're not supposed to bathe. We're supposed to act as though we are in mourning, as if we're in a velas. Yet, by Adar, when it says Shenichnas Adar Marbim b'simcha, it doesn't tell us how. How are we supposed to increase our simcha for the month of Adar? How are we supposed to increase our joy? That is this week's topic. So in order to understand how we're supposed to increase our joy, we have to actually think about what brings us joy. You know, I think it was last week, there was the viral tweet from Elon Musk where he wrote, "Money doesn't buy happiness." Newsflash, money does not buy happiness. Whoever said that money does not buy happiness was correct. So it's not money. We're not just trying to make more money for the month of Adar. So what are we doing? What are we doing to try to increase our joy for the month of Adar? So in Chovos HaLevavos it tells us that what brings joy to a person, what brings simcha to a person, if a person understands, if a person recognizes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has absolute control, that everything is only HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that everything that happens in your life is 100% dictated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There is nothing outside of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No one or nothing can do anything to you or take anything from you. That's what brings a person to joy. Recognition that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge of your life, that's what brings joy, that's what brings simcha. Realizing that I don't have to be worried about any scenario that's out there. I don't have to be worried about any situation that arises. I don't have to be worried about any boss, competitor, partner, whatever it is, customers. Why? Because Hashem is in charge. Hashem is the one orchestrating all the events of my life from top to bottom, from the biggest to smallest. If a person recognizes that, that allows a rock to roll off your chest. That's what gives a person's ability to be misameach, to have true joy. I think that if you look at the events of the Purim story, this is really the message of the Purim story. The Gemara says, Esther min HaTorah minayin, a hint to Queen Esther from the Torah. Where do we find it? It says the Gemara from the pasuk of V'hanoichi Aster Aster Panechem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to hide his face. We know HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name is not mentioned in the Megillah. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu was completely hidden throughout the whole entire Purim story. But yet he was in the background, orchestrating all the events, and that's why the Megillah is a lashon of Megillah, which comes from a lashon of Megala, to reveal. That the story of the Megillah, the Purim story, reveals that although we didn't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu front and center the whole time during the Purim story, but that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was there the entire time in the background, orchestrating the entire events. Orchestrating that Esther would become Queen Esther, that she would be able to become Achashverosh's wife to provide the salvation, orchestrating everything from top to bottom. That the idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is 100% control, even in the darkness of our lives, even in the Hester Panim, in the concealment when we don't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you see that Mordechai had this confidence. Mordechai tells Esther that if you don't go to Achashverosh, the salvation will come. Mordechai knew the salvation will come. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge. The salvation is going to come. The salvation is going to come. Even when we don't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu front and center, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. And Esther says also, Keli, Keli, lama azavtani, even when I feel forsaken. Even when I feel forsaken, Esther says, Keli, lama azavtani. My God, I see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there even when I feel forsaken. In fact, I saw brought down that the reason why Purim is called Purim, we all know is why, is because of the poor, because of the lots that Haman cast, because of this Geirel, these lots that Haman cast to decide on which month he wanted to eradicate the Jews. So why do we call Purim Purim? Because that's when Haman made this lottery. That's when Haman cast these lots. I mean, why is that such an important feature to this story? Why don't we focus on the nace that happened, on Esther becoming Queen Esther, becoming Esther Hamalka, on Haman getting hung up on the tree? Why are we calling the whole entire Yom Tov of Purim based off of the lots that Haman cast? It says because it wasn't random. It wasn't random. The fact that the lots came out on the month of Adar, who decided that? That was HaKadosh Baruch Hu again working in the background, pulling the strings, dictating exactly what would happen when. The name Purim doesn't just signify like, oh, coincidentally that's the lots that Haman cast. No. Specifically, the lots that Haman cast fell out in the month of Adar. Why? Because that is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted. We know 30 days before the Yom Tiv, we're supposed to be focusing on the Yom Tiv, learning about the Yom Tiv. The more we learn about Purim, the more we focus on Yom Tiv, by default we will recognize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is operating in the background at all times, and everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And as the Chavis Halavave says, that is what will bring a person to Simcha. The recognition that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is 100% involved in your life, that is what leads to joy, and that is how we can get to the point of Shenichnas Adar, Marbim, Besimcha.